Hey guys, and welcome in. This rendition of Come Cook with Joe is going to be a skillet ziti with ground pork. So, hope you guys are ready to have a fun night. Kim had her sound on and I could hear myself. Sort of strange. So, tonight's going to be real easy. It'll take us approximately about 20 minutes. And I try to do about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And all of our meals can be from the stovetop to your tabletop in about 20 to 30 minutes, which is kind of exciting. So tonight we're going to need a large pot with a nice wooden spoon. We're going to need a chartreuse with a nice rubber spatula in our case because we can't use metal in our porcelain pot. And then very easy, our ingredients. We've got a tablespoon of garlic powder, tablespoon of Italian. We're going to use the whole jar, which is 3 cups we're using Prego, but any type of marinara sauce will do. And then we've got our 2/3 cup of ricotta cheese. We've got our 3+ tablespoons of grated Parmesan, shredded Parmesan. We've got our Italian sausage, which I've reduced down, or ground pork, I'm sorry, I said Italian sausage, which is ground pork, which we've reduced down to half, because that's what the recipe calls for. And then we have our rigatoni. So I went to the store earlier, and the penne they didn't have. I needed something with a little bit more substantial noodles, so I picked up the rigatoni. The rigatoni is, of course, a little bit larger. We had delatini, and we also had some angel hair, but the penne is a larger noodle, but rigatoni was about the same family. So we need something a little bit more broader and substantial. So, hi, Cindy. So, again, real easy. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start with the water for our noodles. So Kim made a comment just now, don't forget the salt, but for some reason this recipe says that we shouldn't salt this noodle, which I don't understand why, so I'm going to go rogue and salt it anyways, because I'm a good little cook. Get that turned on high. I'm going to grab the salt from over here. So if you haven't already,
your mom's watching too.
Hi, Mom. Pre-measured your stuff, then go ahead and grab your measuring cups and get that taken care of. Mom, I know earlier tonight that you said that Dad wouldn't do the garlic, which I totally understand. And I keto friendly. Okay, it's the carbs are there. You can actually buy carb-less noodles. Our Kroger sells them. The one thing to think though is that the garlic powder and the Italian seasoning, we sort of went rogue on tonight, and we actually added that into the recipe because we wanted our pork to be a little bit more flavorful. So that's the reason why we added it in. So if you don't want to add it, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our ground pork and get it started. So I'll go ahead and throw this on. And I'm going to cut that down into about 3/4 of an inch cubes because I don't want it to be totally minced whenever I start it. So we'll get that started. I'll turn that on a medium-high heat. Get rid of this plate into our recycler. I'm going to go ahead and start transferring everything that we're going to need to cook with over here to our cooking station. Parmesan I'll leave here because we're going to top it whenever we plate it. So I've got 2 plates out for me and Kim. There we go. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this started cooking. Again, medium-high heat. I'm going to let that start cook with the pork, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the tablespoon of garlic and tablespoon of Italian seasoning. At that point in time, I'll ask Cindy to turn away because I'm not going to measure that. I'm just going to throw it in rogue. So we can go ahead and break this down a little bit, but again, we don't want it to be totally minced and falling apart because we want it to be a little bit more substantial inside of our pasta once it gets done, almost like a meatballish type thing.
Like a Maggiano's doing?
Yeah. Did you say Maggiano?
Yeah, do you remember when I baked the ziti I got? It had big old chunks.
I had big old chunks of it, yeah. So, and it was good too, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, yeah, the garlic powder, I was going to... I had some fresh garlic. I have some fresh garlic here. So I was actually going to take a couple of garlic cloves and mince them. And Kim said that Cindy might go nuts because, I was going to actually off menu on that one. So I decided not to do it. Hope everybody's had a really good week. Mine's been really good, but it's been busy. So continuing with college classes and trying to get those done. And I've only got a couple more things to take care of this week. And we've got some friends coming over tomorrow for a low country boil, which will be kind of fun. And looking forward to that. Got out and did some yard work today in order to get ready for it. Sprayed off the back porch with our power washer, and it looks pretty decent.
Your mom said that a lady at church asked how much flour she used in her cornbread, and she said, I had no idea. I'm like, mother like son.
Well, I guess that's where I learned to cook then, was from you. Mom said that a lady at church asked how much flour was in her cornbread, and she said she didn't know. And she said, like father like son, or like mother like son. Well, yeah, that's about the truth of it. So whenever you start adding your spices and stuff like that to your dishes, and you do it without measuring, you're giving yourself to the dish. And so you are actually allowing yourself to incorporate into the dish, so that way people can know who you are, and it's a lot funner. A lot more fun, I guess, would be the proper way to say it, huh? Funner is not a word. All right, we're starting to brown that off, so I'm going to take about a tablespoon, Cindy, of Italian seasoning. About a tablespoon of garlic powder.
My mom says she does the same thing with biscuits, so she can cook rubs too.
There you go, girl. Cindy says she does the same thing with biscuits, so she can cook rogue too. So it sort of adds a little bit of personality to your dish. And again, this wasn't part of the recipe whenever Kim and I looked at it. But I figure it would be really good with the seasoning on the pork. The pork. I keep wanting to say Italian. I don't know why. Yeah, we do usually Italian sausage, Kim says.
That ground pork and clearance, try to find something new.
Right. So we bought this ground pork on clearance. And so we was just trying to figure out something to do with it. And so this menu popped up, and I'm like, well, let's do that with Come Cook with Joe. So there we go. Smelling good, that's for sure. So Dad doesn't do garlic, as we've discussed in previous segments. And Mom's on keto, so she can't do the noodles. So it's a little bit different for them to do this dish tonight, because Dad, like I said, doesn't do garlic, and if they left the garlic out, that'd still be an awful lot of food for them to do. Kim's going to take some for leftovers tomorrow, I think. I'm going to do some leftovers because I'm home by myself during the day now, because I'm on intercession.
I got my own clearance too.
Touche, Cindy. Cindy said she found hers on sale too, and they were organic. So. I'm sorry? So your pork, whenever you're doing like pork chop and whatnot, needs to be at 145. This we just want to make sure it gets browned really good. Pork isn't going to have a lot of fat with it, and so I don't know if we'll have to drain much of this off, which will make Jeff Tilford pretty happy if he's watching tonight. I won't have to drain that down my sink. I'm just kidding, Jeff. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the noodles because we've got a little bit of a boil going. So it's pretty much a rolling boil, which is what I want. So I'll go ahead and throw my noodles in. Again, a half a box called for 8 ounces of a penne pasta. This is rigatoni because I couldn't find straight penne. I could find penne rigatoni at Kroger, at Kroger's, but I couldn't find just straight penne noodles, which would be a little bit more broad. So we're going to let those cook al dente, unless you're in my house, and then I have to cook them a little bit past al dente. Kim says she hates me, which I don't fully believe. So these bigger pieces I'm just cutting down a little bit. I know I said to start them out at, I'm trying to get them 3/4 of an inch into pieces, but I want to make sure that I'm not burning the smaller stuff as I go. So I'm sort of breaking down the bigger ones just a tad bit. Because as I was cooking these, they sort of fell apart. And we can put our seasonings back up. Italian there, and garlic powder there. Okay. It does, right? I'm glad we added those extra spices to it. So I know your marinara sauce probably has some spice to it. But it's always good to add some to the beef or your protein because it'll make that really showcase and stand out. So this is absolutely dry in the bottom of my pan, so I'm not going to have to worry about adding anything to it. But what I'm going to do right now is, it says to add the noodles in, but the noodles are still cooking. So in order to slow this cooking process down on the pork, I'm going to go ahead and add in my pasta sauce. Ouch. And get that stirred in. I'm going to reduce the heat down to a low. And just let that sit right there. Splattered up on my fingers. I'm going to go ahead and run that off real fast. Now the residue in the jar. Adding a little bit of water, right? Putting your lid back on. And then shaking that boy up. We'll get all that last little bit out. So there we have it. Now I can throw that in the recycler and recycle it. All right. Noodles are cooking good. So while those noodles are cooking, we got that turned down low. Let's go ahead and add our ricotta cheese. Put that right there in the middle. Scrape out all that goodness. Now we'll go ahead and start stirring that in and letting that melt a little bit. Looking really good. Smelling really good. Now I also have a colander in the sink for these noodles once they get done, here in about 2 minutes. I'm just trying to break this cheese down so it'll melt really good for us. Then I'm going to drain my noodles. No need to give them a wash. Going straight from there over here will be fine because you want those to add in hot. So I know a lot of times you want to spray some of that starch off the noodles, but it's not going to be really that relevant tonight. So. I think we are a little past al dente, Kim hopes. Oh, I don't have my colander in the sink because I was washing my hands. All right, so I'm going to take this and throw it right in the colander. Always pour away from yourself so you don't get steam burn. Take that and throw that noodles right in there. And then we're simply going to fold those noodles into our sauce. I will turn the heat off. All right, guys. There we have it. Now just for the plating. Right over to our plates. All right, now the final step is take our shredded Parmesan and plate those on top. Right like that. And there we have it. So we've got ziti with a skillet ziti with our sausage. And it looks amazing and it smells good. So I'm excited to try it out. So hopefully you guys had fun tonight. And like I said, it was really short, really easy. So I'll turn you around for the send-off. So there's Riley. He's saying goodbye to everybody. So guys, thanks for coming in. So hopefully next week we can get into something a little bit more extravagant. Like I said, I was off this week and next. So tonight I sort of wanted a little bit more simpler plan because like I said, we're cooking out tomorrow. So if anybody has any suggestions or any desires to see any cookie dishes, just let me know. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.